All right, we're going to get going here. We got Jim and Evan on the stage tonight, so we're going to need all the time we can get. We'll just keep going and going and going. Can you bump me up a little bit back there? And let's kill the music, please. What's that? Computer. No, not that one. There we go. Perfect. A little louder. Keep going. There we go. Oh wait, I don't have to throat this thing to be heard. All right, welcome to the Fire Center, everybody. We still got some people coming in the back. Come on, Ken, find your seat. Wow, you guys were serious about the pizza today. Yeah, it's all gone. You're gonna see what I mean here in a second. Just look out this door. Damn! Right. 14 of them. Nice. And there's none left? There's still good. We're trying to get it down to not having any extras because I don't need it. I do not need to take home any pizza. So, I don't know who's showing more, me or my girlfriend. I got about a month on her. All right. So, we're going to get started here. A couple quick announcements. I do my little pointing thing here. So who wants to know what all those things are that are blurred out?
What are those things?
You have to wait.
It's not just my bad eyes.
No, it's not.
I was scared.
All right, so quick disclaimer here. You are here of your own free will. Okay, we are being recorded. Okay, most of this stuff ends up on YouTube. Okay, so if you are not supposed to be out, or you're supposed to be somewhere else, we got some sunglasses up at the check-in booth. You can put on a disguise. We also got some hats if you want to buy one. But yeah, we are not giving any legal advice or professional advice or anything like that. Everything you see here in the Fire Center is our opinion and our experience, okay? Also, you're being recorded, and we are using that recording to promote the club and the Fire Center in general on YouTube, social media, whatever. If you don't agree with that, I need you to leave, okay? It's not optional, okay? I can't blur you out later, okay? Also, let's, any sponsors here tonight? Let's see, I saw a couple, yeah? Let's give them a round of applause. Please, guys, stand up. Stand up. So we got Lee here. Lee is an excellent solar guy. He's got a program for buy and hold investors and for flippers. Okay, so definitely talk to Lee if you're talking or thinking about putting any solar or security systems, right? The security system for the club's on there. We went through Lee. It works great. Andy set it off already. So, and then Yesenia there runs one of the most badass escrow companies in the Inland Empire. So let's give her a round of applause. If you need any escrow, whatever services, talk to Yesenia. And who else we got? Mr. Evan Brown. Give him a round of applause. He runs SurCashDeals.com, which once upon a time was a wholesaling company that him and I were going to build. And we got busy and decided that we wanted to hang on to more stuff. So if you want to join his buyers list or just hit Evan up for advice, whatever, give him a call. He's always around. Also, I'm one of the sponsors for the Fire Chat podcast. So if you want to learn what people are doing just like you, my goal with that podcast is there's plenty of guru podcasts out there with people that have done 1 billion deals and all that stuff. I want to hear about you guys. So what you have done and your story and how you got here and how you got into real estate and hopefully how you attain financial independence through real estate on that podcast. So I need more guests. If you want to check out the podcast, you go to firechatpodcast.com. It's that little tiny thing up there. If it's blurry, that's definitely not your eyes. It's just tiny. But go there and you can sign up and be a guest. I'm always open to having more people come and talk. Okay? Yeah, so again, you can get to our sponsors. Just go on the website, click the sponsors logo. You get more information about them. Or just go talk to them today. Okay? Also, I forgot. I put this slide in here last minute. We are still selling hats. We got plenty. So if you want some, we dropped the price. They used to be $40. They are $30 now. Okay, so $30 for a hat. And I promise you these hats, because I'm serious about my hats, is they're actually like the same hats you see in the store for $45, $50 with, John Deere or whatever brand you're into. I don't know why that just popped in my head. I don't think I've ever worn John Deere in my life, but that was the first brand that popped into my head. So,
You didn't think it was underwear, did you?
What's that?
You didn't think it was underwear, John Deere.
I don't know.
You don't know what John Deere does.
They make underwear? Well, I know they make tractors.
I'm talking.
I don't get the joke. All right. Anyways, yeah, they're quality hats. They're not like cheap crap. It's these hats are like $20 a piece just to make. So, there you go. All right, and we have a cruise coming up. Who went on the last one? No.
Just me?
Just you? Really? Where's Sarah?
All shit to myself.
Where's Sarah? Oh, they're all out there.
They're all up there.
A few people in there went on the cruise. Okay, so we're doing another one. We had like Farrah back there went on it. So we're doing another one next year. We had like 30 people go out on a cruise ship in February. We all had a lot of fun. We brought some speakers on there. We spent 2 days basically like a half a day, 2 days in a row, so a whole day I guess. Having like a little mini conference just like this. And then we went into Ensenada, walked around, hung out, had dinner every night, got to meet people. It was really cool. So if you've never been on one of those, we're doing them again in February. We're going to Catalina this time also in Ensenada. And then we're going to go to Alaska in September. Okay, so if you want to check that out, you go to firevoyager.com right there. It's got all the information on it. Again, same thing as last week. You can put a deposit in. I think it's $250 for Catalina. It's $500 for Alaska. You can put that deposit in now to lock up your stateroom and actually get a better cabin also on the ship. And that deposit is fully refundable until like the 2 months before we actually sail. Okay, so if something changes, you can't go, whatever, you can get your money back. You can also make deposits throughout that whole time. You don't have to pay it all at once. Yes, sir.
500 for the for 500 per person or for the room?
That's a great question. I wish I
Per
knew.
person.
Per person? Per person. Yes, sir.
And if you want to save 10% on your ticket, come see me. I know how to get gift cards at a discount. As I'm a cheap
As
SOB.
long as it doesn't create more work for me.
Janice some extra work, but she doesn't mind.
No, that's fine.
I have a
Janice can work
question
hard.
though. Why are you making them sit out there? What are they doing out in the hall?
They're watching the door to make sure nobody comes in and gets to you.
This is where you're supposed to pitch for volunteers.
I was getting there.
Okay. I kind of.
You know, Andy, I'm trying to limit what I talk about up here because I talk about 15 things and then nobody forgets, or everybody forgets everything. So, volunteers, that's a good point. All right. So, we do have, there's obviously a lot of stuff that goes on in this club. So we do have a great team of volunteers that Farrah's been leading up. Let's give them a round of applause, please. They do everything from checking people in, cleaning up after it's all done, putting the food out, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so we definitely need more help. We're always, everyone's schedules don't always line up exactly the same way every week. So if you are interested in volunteering and helping out around here, definitely talk to Farrah. You can email the club also. She'll get you on a orientation kind of thing, and we'll get you going. Okay. Also, before I get to that, I'll get to that. All right. So, I didn't update. Oh, well. All right. So if you want to know what those things are, we got some big updates coming to the club, to the fire center in general. Okay, I'm going to unveil that at Tri-Building, which is this month. So the 5th Wednesday, for those of you that are new, the 5th Wednesday on the months that are a 5th Wednesday, that happens to be one of these months. The last one was January, so that was almost 4 or 5 months ago. We do something called Tri-Building. It's our networking expo that we do basically quarterly, and it's all about networking. So we clear all these tables out, we put up some banquet tables, we just talk all night, we get to know each other. We are going to do a couple rounds of speed networking later in the night. So we're going to do a general networking in the beginning, and we're going to do speed networking in the second half. Okay? So that'll be the 5th Wednesday. Anybody know what is that the 28th? 29th. The last Wednesday of this month. Okay, there will be a bar in the corner here. You guys can buy drinks, those of you that don't know how to network sober. There you go. Okay? So So come check that out. We got a lot of exciting stuff we're going to talk about, and we'll see you there. So before I hand the mics over, who got an offer accepted, did a deal this week? Anybody? Other than Andy. I'm just kidding. Come up here, Andy. Come on. Tell us about your deal.
I get to talk about one of my deals
Yeah.
this week.
The quick
Well,
version.
I was in Exchangers today, so of course I did deals. I got 3 or 4 deals. We're lending money. We're building wealth. We do it every Wednesday. Gary and I are in where'd the other one go? Who else is in on that deal we're doing? Well, Farrah needed some money.
Oh, that's the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the other one with
No, because Ricardo came up with some of the money Farrah needed, and I offered up the rest of it. And Gary put up some, and Asher put up some.
that one wasn't mine.
Oh, was one yours?
That
Who-
was
who put up the
Asher.
60?
Asher needed the money.
Oh, I did with Asher.
So
See,
yeah,
I did too
Asher
many
needed
deals
the
in a
money.
day. I have to
and
go
then
back and look at the
he
thing.
wrapped it.
My more exciting thing came right before I left on vacation. Well, on my 3 weeks away.
Just-
I'm stealing 2 houses by adverse possession. Come learn how if you want to talk to me about it. Yeah, those are fun. Scary, but fun. Adverse possession is when you take over someone's property, you conspicuously occupy it, you pay the taxes, and after you've done that for 5 years, you can go to court and quiet the title, and the nice man that puts on a black dress to go to work every day will declare that you own the property. In the meantime, you collect rent, which I think is kind of cool. Kinky, but cool. So anyway, I started 2 of those this year.
Cool. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and give a round of applause. You're gonna talk about it in your presentation. Right?
What's that?
Unless you want to talk about it. Okay. Because we'll be up here for 10 minutes. All right, anybody else? Anybody else make an offer, get something accepted? One person. Guys, I'm going to tell you who made an offer. Made an offer this week. Okay? Real truth, right now, you're not going to get houses unless you're making offers.
They're getting what they shoot
Okay.
at.
You have to be out there making offers constantly. Okay? Just keep that in mind. They're going to talk about more of this tonight, but these deals aren't going to just fall on your lap. You got to be making offers. Okay? It's super, super important. So next week, when I say who made an offer, who's going to raise their hand? All of you should be raising your hand. There's a hand. There's a hand. Okay? All right. So without further ado, we will bring up 2 of my favorite people. Mr. Jim. Jim, I love hearing Jim talk because he told me a story the other day about how you did a deal and then you lost $8,000 on it, selling it, and you weren't mad about it. Like you were super. I mean, you weren't excited about it, but you weren't letting it get you down. That's what I love about you.
It was an education, baby.
If I feel bad about something, I just have you tell me a story.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm happy. We've been doing deals together for, I don't even know, 7, 8 years now. So I love listening to you talk. So there you go. Let's give these guys a round of applause.
Hey, welcome to the Fire Center. The Fire Center, I love it.
Yeah, I did make an offer. I made like several offers as I was negotiating, and someone else snagged the deal, and we would have made about 50 grand. So kind of put a damper on my weekend a little bit, but there's plenty out there. And yeah, it just doesn't sit right. So anyway, anyone pick up a really good deal in Muscoy in the last couple of days that I can just say, good for you, but it sucks for me? No?
No.
Well, someone got a pretty decent deal, but it
What
wasn't
about,
me.
what about that fire burnout that you were?
Yeah,
I love that.
let me tell you something. I lost more deals in the last couple of weeks than you guys, than many of you even put offers out. So you got to put the offers out, all right? As Jim knows, just so you know, someone called me and said, hey, I've been driving by this property forever and I haven't done anything about it. And I'm like, well, go do something. And she did. And she got me in there with the homeowners who were 90 years old and like 84 years old. They've been traveling the world and did everything they could do, and now they're slowing way down, and one of their houses burned down. And we were making this offer, and they got paid out by the insurance, so it's free and clear, and I'm talking to them about where we need to be in case we're rebuilding it, or if we wholesale it, it needs to make sense. And just didn't make the deal. But then I saw it, 2 weeks later on coming across my desk that someone has it sent out at $120,000 higher than my offer. All right, so I told her that I told the owner that I'm pretty confident that if she hadn't have sold it to me, that I'm going to see it come across my desk in a few weeks by somebody else, and then they're going to be, and sure enough, I almost want to call her and go, here's a photo, see what I mean, but I'm not going to do that.
Same thing happened to me on that 8th Street property in Norco. I was talking to the owner, trying to get a sale done at $450,000. Easter came, and I just dropped the ball. And I think a couple days after Easter, I got an advertisement from one of the big wholesalers. They wanted $475 for it. I went to the showing. There was about a gajillion people there. It sold for $609.
You've been working on that for how many years?
No,
I told everyone, how many years?
I had driven by that property for, it sounds crazy, 20 years, but I've been driving by that property forever. And
you had even met with the seller.
I met with the seller. I mean, I did everything I was supposed to do, but the reality is the seller died. The house went to the granddaughter. The granddaughter hired some handyman, loser guy who didn't know anything about real estate. And the reality is I couldn't bring him to heel. I couldn't get him to listen to me, and I lost it because I wasn't hungry enough. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Just this came up. Jim got a call today, and he mentioned something to me about it, so I'll bring it up. I'll bring part of it up. Is that sometimes we don't get a deal because we didn't offer enough. We could have built a relationship. We could have done this, and the person loved you, and they want to. And sometimes we've had people like, "Hey, Evan, I really want to sell to you, but they're $25,000 higher. Can you give me anything?" And I'd come up 10 or 8, and I've gotten, and I've had those where I can't, because I don't want to overpay just because I want the deal. There's another deal. So understand, I have no idea whoever buys that burnout house for $270 in Colton, that the estimated rehab cost is $300,000, and the house will only be worth $5 or $550. Who in their right mind would do that? Okay, so someone might buy it and do it, fine. Maybe it's a hedge fund's going to buy it, and they're going to spend the money and hold it for 20 years. They don't care. Maybe someone that did just win.
Maybe it's someone who doesn't know what the heck they're doing.
Or it's someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Richard and I in Crestline, 7 years ago, we went and met with a homeowner, and it was on the side of the hill, overlooking the lake, beautiful home, had foundation issues. And we started to make an offer. The guy goes, "I'm not in a hurry." So, okay, well, I'll call you tomorrow as we're negotiating, doing all this stuff. So I want to do some research. And literally, the next morning, I got a call from one of the big wholesaling companies. It's talking about, "Hey, Evan, I'm about to get this deal in Crestline. Do you want it?" And I already had a sinking feeling. You could see when they sent me the photo of the property, my tire tracks in the snow as I backed out, and they got the deal. And then they sold, and it was literally for $3,000 different. It was right there. They sold it to an investor who was a newbie. They got over his head, and 4 months later was selling because he was losing a shirt, because he when they sold it, they sold it for $50,000 more instead of say $20,000 more, and took all the profit out, and the next guy lost his shirt.
So just 2 days ago, I get an offer, or I get an advertisement for a house in Glendora, and it was someone from the club here. Maybe you guys know this deal. It was an ARV of 1.2. Somebody had already bought it, screwed the whole thing up, and in the story, it's worth 1.2 at ARV. It's a home with an ADU, and they want $835 for it. They say there's $35,000 worth of rehab that needs to be done, and it's worth 1.2. And I'm scratching my head. I'm like, so you only have to spend $35 more grand, and you're going to give away $350,000? It just didn't make sense to me. So I sent my guy out there today, and it's going to cost 35 grand to do the landscaping. Forget about all of the work that needs to be done on the house and everything else. And I'm just telling you guys right now. What I'm trying to say is I'm hearing a lot about people going out and looking at properties, and they're off by $125,000. Meaning you make an offer for $300 and someone buys it for $425, and you're like, what the heck? What the heck's going on? So I'm telling you guys, it's a badge of honor. Please, it's a badge of honor. You guys have to see it that way. Okay, let them have these trash deals. Absolutely let them have it. It was so easy to call the person up from the club and say, listen, this isn't going to work. And great job looking at these deals, because there's going to be a lot of them, because a lot of people are overpaying, buying on the come. This house is going to be worth $1.5 million. $1.8 million. $2,350,000. We just wait 6 more weeks. And it's.
Or the comp's 3 miles away, across 3 freeways.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
On the other side of the continent, really.
Yeah.
And so this is something that want to talk about real quick on it, is that you don't want to overpay just to get a deal. Everyone agree, right? So it's okay not to. And sometimes you're like, maybe I could have come up. Because in the case for this, I knew that if it's something that you can make 50 grand on, it's like, well, could I make 20? Wouldn't that have been good enough for me? But then if I do that, I would have given up all this other stuff too. So you got to find the right thing.
What is that money? What the money that you're borrowing? The time. What is it worth? Because it's not worth 20. It's worth a hell of a lot more than 20 grand. I can tell you, all of you that. And you guys don't understand. There was a time I had 20 of these deals going, and I used to think, I'll make 20 grand, everything will be cool. But it screws up the whole machine, man. It really does. And
so you're saying sometimes you don't even want to make 20 grand multiple times?
Because
you could have made 50?
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. But guess what? The answer is I sleep now. I don't yell at my wife. I got a good life now because I don't have these deals that I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And great, I had cash flow and money was coming in. But I have a quality life now. I don't have this craziness. No, is confession over?
No, yeah, kind of. Like I said, we got segued a little bit into that because it literally was happening, and we've heard it from others. And I don't know how many of you have made an offer, and someone else got it for like 50 or 80,000 more, and you're like, who would pay that? And they did, and maybe it even worked out for them. I have a buddy of mine that consistently was overpaying on properties that would never do it. He'd put more money into it, and I'd watch the market over the last few years bail him out. It happened a couple times to me where we got into something and we made more money than we thought than we were originally planning, because the market was appreciating and maybe we didn't need as much of expenses. So there were times that it really helped, but literally I watched him do this like 3 times in a row, and it was actually annoying almost. Like this, you're playing with fire, and when the music stops, you're going to be in trouble.
The music never stops.
Yes, and it does.
And you're gonna be competing against, like, for instance, I heard today that BlackRock announced they are going to be buying at the trustee sale in Northern California. And I know from my own experience in Northern California, there's some really good deals being had in Northern California right now. So BlackRock announces they're going to go in. I don't know if any of you have been. I've been to the auction and watched BlackRock buy 44 of the 47 houses that were being sold in one day. And is it okay for me to say they don't give a shit about the price? Because they don't give a shit about the price, because they're not buying, we're not competing with them. We're not. Like Jim Keller and my little fortune that I have is not competing against somebody who can literally go. I mean, are they paying the rate they're getting the money directly from the Treasury. I don't know. I mean, I don't have this inside
The point is
information.
they're not looking at it the same way we are. I understand those are long-term plays, 5-year, 10-year, 20-year stuff.
Or they're buying an insurance product against the whole thing. So if the whole thing dies, they get a payoff. They're doing a different deal than we're doing.
So don't get caught up in that. We heard that from a couple of people, and like, man, I keep getting outbid. It happens. But also something, he made a comment that said that they were like, well, I got outbid. There were like 40 other people, and it's like, Okay, well, most of the time, I'm not bidding against 40 other people. Nobody usually, or one person or two, not 40. Probably looking in the wrong place. There's nothing wrong with it if you're like done a bunch of other stuff and you're at a place or bidding against something, or with a wholesaler and you are bidding. I've actually, you guys know the story, most of you. I've actually been working with a wholesaler, bidding against someone, and found out it was Jim I was bidding against. I just raised the price like 15 grand. He eventually won the deal, and we figured it out during it. I was able to figure it out, and that's really more of the case. Okay?
I could have got 22 rims for my truck. It would have been bitching, but you cost me those rims, man. Come on.
It happens. Well, look, we're gonna tonight. Our talk is we call it Tribe Talk, and what it is stuff that we're going to be talking about multiple different things, kind of not just one overriding theme tonight, but it is all related to wholesaling and fix and flip, and some of the things we come across and deal with. But also a lot of it is from our conversations with you, because what happens, we'll get up here and we'll talk and we'll ask them, hey, anyone have a question? We ask one or two. The second we're over, we get 10 questions. It's like, guys,
Why didn't you ask your name?
why didn't you ask? Someone else probably has the same question. And then I'll get asked, out of those 10 questions, 3 of them were the same question. So it's okay, so we're gonna get there. I just want to talk about that real quick. That's really what Tribe Talk is it's just really us talking about some of the challenges and things we're going through and you're going through, and we want to and cover those points. First of all, these are really, we're not a lawyer, we're not tax professionals, real estate agents, etc. Always seek competent legal marriage tax advice.
I was going to say, but you need all of these. You need every one of those. You need.
Right, and I actually do have most of those. Okay.
I'm right there.
Yeah, and so basically with us, how many of you have never seen Jim and I talk before in person? Okay.
Where the hell?
No, raise your hand, seriously, so we know.
People,
Okay.
come on.
Good. So I can say the same corny jokes again. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm a fix and flip guy. I'm also a long-term landlord for about 15 years. I love probate deals, wholesale deals, double closings. Again, love the long-term rentals, mobile homes and parks and land. Our website, sircashdeals.com. We do notes as well. That's really who I am. My heart has always been the cash flow on the long-term rentals, but most of the time we do for where that money comes from is from fix and flip and wholesale, etc. And Mr. Jim?
And so I've been an active investor for over 15 years, construction realtor for the same amount of time. I used to do a very big amount of house flipping. Don't really do much of that as much as I used to. I do wholesale from time to time. Built a couple houses. Fix and flip. I've been doing what the auction work, quite a bit of it. I've been buying houses at the auction, working with a charity and reselling those properties off, and we've kept a couple of them. I love the business. Recently, my son-in-law married my middle daughter. We've started something called it's such a good title, I forgot all about it.
That does happen.
It's called reversemortgageeliminator.com. So we figured out a way to help people that are really underserved. And I hope we have more time to go into this kind of topic, because that's how you find willing participants in your transactions. If I'm trying to convince you to do something you don't want to do, it's not going to be a good thing for us. But if you need my service and I'm an expert at providing that service, it's usually a win-win. So there you go.
Okay, awesome. It's funny when you were telling me that yesterday. Is she here? There was someone. Who's the mixed lunch at? She is. There you go. Okay.
You're going to talk about
That's okay. You just heard the reverse mortgage person. That's why I was like, all right. I thought I saw you. We'll go there. But so you can talk to Jim or I about more of that. All right. But first of all, we are gonna talk about this. I know that Rich. First of all, as you know, Rich Rice is my son.
Isn't he the audio-visual guy here at the club? Where's he at?
Yeah. So basically, though, I know he runs something on mindset, and the reason why he runs a focus group on the mindset is because without the right mindset, you're just buying and selling a house or buying and keeping a house. You might do that, but you don't have a business.
By the way, free
free year of membership over kicks Jim's ass.
I like that. Hey, I might only have one arm, but it's gonna hurt you boys. It's gonna hurt whoever comes. It's gonna hurt you.
So the point is the reason why there's a mindset focus group every month is because it is that freaking important. So, and then some of the things, and today we walked in, and one of you, I'm not going to point you out, came up and started talking about being a conservative investor and trying to find the right deal, and you know, you're in a good place, etc., which is great. Love talking to that, but it goes back to the mindset again. So we're going to touch a couple things as we bounce around. And first of all, there are tons of deals out there. I am literally seeing them where we've dropped the balls, lost this one, lost that one, and then when you look at all the different wholesalers that have them, or some of my friends who, hey, I've got this deal. Today I got a text, I was just telling him, some of you overheard it, says, hey, I got this thing in Encino, this condo we're working on. It's because I opened my mouth, and a friend of mine was on an airplane last year to Australia, was sitting next to a guy in LA, from LA, he goes, you gotta talk to Evan if you're talking about real estate in SoCal. The guy called me, and a couple months ago, he mentioned about this water problem in this condo in Encino. And it turned out that he just said, hey, we got it all worked out. You're interested? I said, yes. And I'm like, hey, Jim, you interested in Encino?
Yes.
And so there are tons of deals out there. If you're out there, though, at the same time, there's no deals, I can't find them, guess what?
You're not.
You're going to struggle. There's someone, I'm forgetting her name, Abigail Shriver, I forget, wrote a book not too long ago. I was listening to part of a podcast and said that last so many years in this, you have a lot of people that focus down on, well, what problems and issues I'm facing, and let's go dive deep into those problems and issues, and I keep looking at facing my problems and issues, and keep facing my problems and issues, and guess what? They never go away. They just keep getting worse. And they found that by putting them in the right context and look for the solutions and understand that this is an issue and this is a problem and we got to deal with it, but by moving forward, you're going to be far more productive, happy, etc., and you're going to see more opportunities versus it's all problem, because you can't see, because you don't stop and take the time to go, there's plenty of solutions out there. So focus on the solution, not the problem. And so the first part is there are tons of deals out there, and I absolutely believe it because there's literally tons of deals out there. We just bought 3 in the last, month.
So a great way to kind of get you out of this funk, and
If some of you have that, some of the new people.
I'm not going to be so judicious. I know that virtually, if no one raised their hands for offers, I know you're all in the funk. Okay, so I know this because it's me, because I want it all to come to me. I want everyone to call me, and I'm Jim Keller for darn sake. I want the best deal. I want all this stuff. Okay, it's all BS. Okay, it's all BS. So what I started doing is I started writing offers, because that's how I got a lot of deals. Is I wrote a lot of offers, and so now if I make a decision to go out working, I have to write 4 offers. 4.
Yeah.
I got to write 4 offers, and yeah, sometimes the guy looks at me and laughs. But it's way better than him looking at me and laughing and me just skulking away. At least I can look myself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm a badass MFer. I really am, because I can take one look at a deal and go, oh, it's $600,000 minus 29% minus $62,000 of fix-up. That means I can pay $387,000 for it, and I can close in 3 days. And by the way, I do have my proof of funds. It's right here. I can write a check right now. Let's do this deal.
And anyone that is newer or not sure, I don't know if I can do that, you have Jim's number. You see what I mean? So that's why you don't have to say, if you're talking to someone or doing something, that you have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. Jim doesn't have them. We have a lot of them, but we don't have all of them. I called some of you in here with issues or something that I'm dealing with, or some of my mentors would give them a call and talk to them and say, hey, yeah, I'm dealing with this problem. So we constantly will look for ways for a solution, etc. And if you run into something, there's always someone else to help. So if you do say, I know a place, I've been driving by it for 15 years, I don't know what to do. Call me, call Jim, call Rich. Call Farrah. Call the guy next to you. Seriously. Oh, you follow me?
Who has Deal Machine here in the property right now? Raise your hand. High in the air. Okay? If you are out looking at a property and you don't know who or what or why or where, call one of those people. Raise your hand again. Okay? Raise your hand again. Okay? Call one of those people and say, hey, I'm sitting out in front of 321 Sorta Street. It's a Munster home. It's a bad looking place. Who owns it? What's their phone number? I would give it to you.
So going back to this real quick is that, again, there are tons of deals out there, but they're always easy to find.
No.
They're not. They're just not. They're there, but just understand, being real, like going, look, they're not always just going to fall in your lap. At the same time, it's something by paper on the streets, they used to call it, writing offers, making offers, verbal offers, talking to people, it's taking action. One of the things that, how many of you ever feel like you're struggling with being impatient or frustrated or have fear? Anyone ever have those?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, at least we're getting something there. Right, we have them. Guess what? Fight fears with action. By getting up, okay? By getting up and doing something is one of the biggest things that's going to overcome that, all right? World War I, when the Americans landed in France, one of the American soldiers expressed fear. And Blackjack Pershing came back and says, to a colonel, says, Colonel, only an idiot would admit to never knowing fear. I blew that paraphrase, but the point is it's okay to have fear. It's to go ahead and go beyond that and do something with it. All right. Anyone been afraid about anything? Yeah. Right. All right. I still get nervous when I'm calling someone. Maybe it's too late there. Maybe they're eating dinner. Maybe they're going to yell at me. Maybe they're going to whatever. You just don't know. So,
how do you feel when you come out of that? How do you feel when you come out of the fear and you've faced it, you've looked it in the eyes, and you've overcome it, or you got your ass handed to you, and you're on the ground, and you're picking yourself up, and you're dusting yourself off, but at least, again, I can put my chest out, and at least I swung at the plate. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So, basically, this goes back to what we said earlier. Does that mean, in a sense about taking action, does it just doesn't mean you jump in any deal, even a bad one? No. It's just, again, saying by taking out, what can you do? You can go to Exchangers, 12 to 2. You're going to sit there and learn and watch people put deals together. You're going to go, I am trying to figure this out. Oh, someone has a few $1,000s and they're lending that you'll watch deals be put together. It's a great way to start learning a little bit about that. All right? You can go there. Small deals, big deals, you can deal with that. But fighting fear with action, it could be drive a neighborhood. It could be skip trace and call 20 homes, leave 20 notes. You go, I don't know what skip trace is. Fine, leave 20 notes. Hi, I was driving by. I love your house. Please call me. Okay? Or, hi, I was driving by your house. We need to talk. Please call me. They're going to go, what the hell does this person want to talk to me about? Okay? Or skip trace. There's free sites. Fast People Search, True People Search. Some of us use REI Skip Trace. There's Spokio. There's a lot of places, but skip trace
basically. There's the neighbors on each side of the property and the ones across the street from the house.
2 houses on each side and 4 houses on each side across the street, or the 4 across the street. Go knock on the door, ask what's going on, and that's taking some action that you don't need money for. It's just something to do. And where can you do this? Everywhere. And then call or text 100 people you went to school with or work with. They're in your phone right now. Okay? Just by doing that. These are things to get started. Are they the be-all answer? No. They're just actionable steps you can do. Then you will have some things. You're going to reconnect with old friends. You're going to reconnect with people. And you're also going to have people that, I do have a problem. I am so glad you called. And you're going to get a deal. Sooner or later, that will happen.
And there's a great thing that comes from this. So if I talk to you and you got a deal for me, it doesn't work. Thank you very much, but it doesn't work. You, same thing. You, same thing. And then all of a sudden, this guy in the back calls me up, and I'm hearing numbers that I'm doing the math, and I'm like, oh man, this deal works. It's like all of a sudden, I got a little juice in me. You know what I'm saying? Because I've evaluated 30, 40, 50 homes, 60 homes sometimes. maybe not in a day, but I would say in a week I'm at least evaluating 100 homes right now a week, and
Real quick, how many are you evaluating 10 homes a week? 10 homes. You're looking at, you're figuring out, you're looking. All right. Okay. Good.
That's a good number. What I'm saying is I'm getting better and better and better and better and better. And so now he calls me. He says to me in passing, "I've got this condo. I asked for the address because that's really all I need. Because I already sent the address to my guy, and he hasn't called me back yet. But he's going to call me back before the meeting's over. I'm going to get a phone call back, and he's going to say it's worth $680 or $510 or $1 million, whatever he's going to say. I'm just going to do a formula, and then I'm going to go. What is your guy thinking? Oh, he's thinking 310, and my number is 410. Well, guess what? I'm doing tonight is I'm calling him up. I'm saying, where do you need the money? Let's open escrow. Let's do this deal. So it's because I've dealt with all of the. I'm sorry, I'm going to call your deal a shitty deal. Okay? It's because I've dealt with all these pieces of crud. I've dealt with this house in Glendora today that's just a turd. I mean, it's the worst thing ever, okay? But because I have clarity of how valuable my money is, how valuable my time is, how valuable my team is, okay? Because I have that clarity, because I've had to do the math about the stupid, because I want to deal in Glendora so badly, my son-in-law lives around the corner. I really want to do a deal there. Okay? But there you go.
Well, with that, understand where he was going with that is that some of you will call and go, hey, Evan, I don't think this is going to work out. I'm starting to see it. I might say, keep running the numbers, keep looking through that. Or you might be in a deal and go, I'm not sure this is, we already signed the open escrow, things are good, but I think my rehab costs can be higher, or the ARV isn't there. And I might say, okay, well, as long as someone's not the seller desperate where they're losing their house in auction in a week, where you're wasting, where any delay can really hurt them, not there. But if you take another couple days to evaluate the deal, you're learning more by doing. And we just did that with someone, I think he's here tonight, where he was working on a mobile home deal. And I said, just keep working it, keep working, even if it doesn't work out. You've learned so much. And I know he closed on there he is. I know he closed on the deal, and they're rehabbing it now. Okay? And he's in the back. So I give him a hand real quick.
Yeah.
So, nice job. So sometimes we'll say, no, you're learning, stick with that, because that way you do that enough times and walk away or buy them. Now when someone says, hey, I got this deal in Elsinore, you're going, I'm in. Tell me a little more? Okay, and then you'll know.
How many square feet is it? Does it have a comp roof or a tile roof? Is it raised floor or is it concrete foundation? Is it on well or is it on septic or sewer? Is there a well or city water? I mean, all of these things have a number in my head. Is there a swimming pool? This guy puts 20 grand in for a swimming pool. Oh my Lord, okay? But you know what? You know why he did it? Because you got burned, I'm sure. That's the exact reason.
And you know what? When the bill's coming in at just about $19,000 for the
so you do know what you're doing.
No, this is the first real swimming pool project I've done. And I just knew every time you think it's nothing, it's 20 grand.
So what are you getting for 20 grand? What are you getting?
A whole new pool. They're jackhammering, and we're getting everything but the pool equipment.
Chicks dig a new pool, man.
Yeah, we won't talk about the rest of the numbers, though. Those are all high. But real quick.
So the ARV is always going to decrease, and the expenses are always going to go up higher? Is that what you're saying to me?
No, the ARV is all higher too, so that's okay. Look, real quick. I hope you see though what we're talking about is just by taking action. Especially for those of you that feel stuck, or hey, I did a bunch of deals last year, but I really, I was busy this year, haven't gotten going, and there's not much on the market, and I'm hearing how bad it is, and interest rates are 97% now.
It's a lie. It's a lie you're telling yourself.
Yeah. So I'm saying with that is understand, just get back out there by taking action. All right, everyone understand that? Okay. First of all, any questions? And I mean any question, not necessarily about this, but about anything. Any question, any problem you're having, anything else? If not, we're going to keep going. Yes?
So when you come across these properties that need fixing and you know that they're vacant, how do you guys, I know you said door knock, 2 houses to the left, 2 houses to the right, but how do you guys get those in contact with those owners?
Okay, so Edwin, what the question is hey, so when you see that vacant house, and she recognized we talked about door knocking next door, but how do you find the owners of those houses?
Yeah.
That's where the skip traces come in. There's 3 sites that I've used. True People Search, Fast People Search are okay. They'll get you some numbers, and I found a lot of people that way. REI Skip is another way. Spokio is another. And yes, Andy.
Usually, one of those 8 people have the phone number.
Many times they do. He's right. They do. A lot of times they have the key.
So it's this. Hi, my name's Jim. I'm searching for the person who controls 321 Sorda Street over here. I have some very important information. I know, like, maybe you can see that someone died. Maybe you can see that the ownership is not right, or maybe you have a name. You say, I have a person that I'm looking for, okay? But is there anyone on the street that you know is in contact with the owner of this property? Is there anyone that you can send me to? Okay.
I was about to pull it back. Yeah.
Is there anyone that you can send me to? And I would call it Mrs. Kravitz. Does everyone remember Bewitched? You know, when we were kids? I'm sorry.
I just bought a place because of Mrs. Kravitz.
Okay. So Mrs. Kravitz is the lady on every street who knows all of your business. If I want to know about you, I just got to go to the lady on your street that knows all about your comings and go, when you leave, when you come back. So there's a person like that on every street, and your job is to find her. And I know this is true because I have personally done what I'm talking about, and then I've left papers on. So I've left a note on the house. Then I've walked the houses, and then I'm in my truck adding my notes. And guess what happens? Somebody from the house across the street comes over and gets the piece of paper.
Oh.
And yes, you
I'm
know
gonna
that.
knock on my window.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, that has happened also. But then you just simply get out and you go, hi, because you already met them.
Yeah.
They already answered the door. Hi, Stephanie. Hey, listen, I have a cash offer for this property, and I can close in a matter of days. If obviously you know who own, you know Mr. Brown or Mr. whoever it is. Have them call me. Here's my name. Here's my number. Hey, is there a number I can reach you on? I'd be happy to pay you a referral fee. Can I pay you a referral fee? Can I?
Yes.
I can? What's your phone number? How can I reach you? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm talking to you now. I'm saying this is how emphatic and almost stupid you have to be because a lot of the Mrs. Kravitz, well, Mrs. Kravitz understands this, but a lot of people don't realize that I got $5,000 to give. I got $5,000 to give. I got $2,500 to give. I got $1,500 to give. But I need to be in front of the seller. And so you get in front of the seller says, no, thank you. If you're smart, you go to Starbucks, and you go buy a $10 card, and you go back over and you give the card to the lady, and you say, hey, thanks a lot. Hey, this is what I do for a living. If you know of anybody else, any other vacant homes, or anyone there's a fire in the neighborhood, you give me a call. I'd be happy to pay a referral fee. And this is how you do this day after day after day after day, and it pays off.
One thing you're to realize, especially for you newer people, Jim and I both, we do a lot of flying by the seat of our pants. And we come up with, we're on this Johnny on the spotlight, but we're actually, it works for us, okay? There's a lot of people out there that can memorize this and great. You can do that, fine. Come off really polished, great. I find that me just being me, very real, all right? And it mostly comes across that way. So a lot of times for me, and literally I've done this, is knock on the door or call that person, depending upon the situation, and sit there and say, hey, I see that there's an eyesore 4 houses down, and I don't know if you know this, but I am buying in the area. I really love this neighborhood. So if you happen to know, do you know who owns that house? Do you know any way they can get that? I've got 2 different numbers from someone, and literally just bought a duplex 2 weeks ago because all my other attempts were working. And I finally said, can you have your friend, your neighbor's friend, who's the daughter of the owner, call me after 3 years? We just closed on that duplex.
Tell them about the police.
Look, if you start, last month I talked to, Jim was sick, and I talked about how to dominate a neighborhood. We'll get in that for a quick minute here. When you start working a neighborhood, you will get known. You just will. If you get that, especially in a smaller area, an older town area, certain things. So today, he knows I just paid someone to leave for that duplex. The guy's a two-striker. He has an issue. He's also a wife beater, just crazy guy. And there's drugs involved, and women lost their kids, and they broke up after I gave them money. I gave them each money. Actually, it was a request to give her money first, to get her to sign first, so she could leave if she wanted to flee, let her flee. And she didn't until I beat her up again.
So he's really doing a community service.
Well, it was
That's really
advised to
what
me
he's
to do it this way, so I did. But anyway, I paid him. He's gone. They bought a trailer, and he's living a couple streets over right now because he doesn't have the money to get the tires to move this place where he needs to go to a family member, a trailer. It's like, okay, fine. So I drove by and I see down this alleyway the trailer and a sheriff, and I'm like, okay. So I turned around and went down, and the sheriff's coming up the alleyway, and I know that there was a issue at one of my rentals, and the day before, because Mrs. Kravitz called and told me, hey Evan, there's an issue at your rental. And so it wasn't my tenant, it was just someone else that was there. So he come up and I stopped and said, hi, were you talking, hi officer, were you talking to Derek? The guy Derek, I think that's who it is. Because I hadn't seen that it was there, I only heard it was there. He goes, yeah, are you Evan? And I was like, I've never had just randomly pull up to a sheriff before and they asked me, am I Evan? And I'm like, yeah, I am. He goes, you're the guy buying up all the neighborhood. I said, yeah, that's me. I just closed it. I sold this one. Literally, we're in an alleyway behind one of them. So we talked for 15 minutes. Gave him my card, told him what I do. And, we're just talking in general about it. You will get known. Jim pointed out, that's a new lead source. Officer's name is Will, by the way, but I did not get his number. But probably have his back.
Can you imagine if he gives $2,500, which this guy's got mega bucks. I mean, come on. He gives $2,500 to the police, the policeman's ball. I don't know if there is such a thing. But the point is, at Christmas time, those cops they all do good things.
Well, do officers know where the rough houses are? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Postmen, Amazon drivers, officers. That was like, I'll see him again. I've seen him driving around.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, but the point is, I'll tell you the second part of that was this guy. I went over to this guy Derek just as the officer left and said, "Hey, what's up? What's going on with tires? I don't have the money. I got to figure out how to do it. I need $150." Just so happened I had $200 on me, so I gave him the $200, and he walked over to the tire place so he could finish this to get it done. The guy started crying. This is a guy tatted up everywhere. He kill you when you're not looking, but he starts crying and just said thank you.
This is my experience. This is my experience.
And this is a point, is that you're not just buying houses, you're actually changing people's lives. And I don't know if someone just handed them money before. It just so happened I had it on me, and I did it because I actually want them out of the area. The farther it goes, so I was not all altruistic here. It was like, okay, but it was at the same time, if I could help,
you did.
I didn't want a problem. I didn't want him to break back in, and I wanted him to go, oh yeah, you know what, Evan's a good guy. Because you know what I told him? I pay referrals. Next house you're hiding in that you're living in, I'll pay you and I'll move you again. I've done that. I've been with Jim or Gary, and I've walked in and handed someone some money to tell me things. So anyway, first of all, if we keep going here, we're going to do this. There are tons of deals out there. Jim, you want to read this part?
You have to be unconventional. Or excuse me, to be unconventional, you have to be unconventional. And I know it's true because that's my career, is unconventional. I don't even like being in this crowd because there's too many people here. It's like I need a room with 4 people in it. Okay, I mean that's what you want to do. I see a lot of people chasing NODs nowadays. If you're a real estate agent or if you have anything to do with real estate,
notice of default.
Notice of defaults. Okay, because people think there's going to be more defaults and or so you got notice of defaults, or you have or you have probate. So recently, I purchased the rights of an heir, and so I am the administrator of an estate. I got it today, in fact. I got that right bestowed on me from the court.
Good for you.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. How many times how many people contacted me?
Oh, in the last 30 days?
How many? Because my name is now on a
Probate.
yeah, exactly. How many people? 43 people I kept track. Yes, I'm that guy.
And how do they reach out?
Okay, so are you guys ready? Because this is what you paid for.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Ready.
This is what you paid for. I got. I don't remember the number. The majority was letters. Some were written. Some were fancy postcards. Some were pictures of my wife and my 3 kids, and we want
No
to, like this kind of thing. It was kind of
So mail.
mail. I'm talking about. Okay. I got a lot of phone calls. Everything from this. Hello, my name. I'm Jim, and I really would like to buy your house. Everything from that call to super slick, like Gordon Gekko types. That wanted to put together, some crazy marketing scheme for us. But guess what? Not one person came to my house and said, "Hey, Jim, let's do it. Let's work together." And I'm telling you.
Because real quick, understand, I did the same thing in probate. I had the same similar situation where people were calling and I got, 40 things in the mail because as administrator, they want to buy the house. So what he's saying there in that point is that, and all these companies, all of a sudden the mail comes out like crazy and the phone, but not one person knocks on the door.
Not
So the
one
door knockers,
person. Please.
yeah, had one person knocked on the door.
To be unconventional, you have to be unconventional. And if everybody, 42 people, are contacting me via phone, and let me just tell you right now, the slick guys on the phone, I love them, by the way. Kept them on the phone for an hour and a half. Guess what I did? I converted every one of those guys and said, I'm a cash buyer. No, you don't understand. I purchased the rights to buy this property. Every house you guys put under contract, I want to buy. I sent them proof of funds. I sent them deals I'd done. That's guess what?
Now, who would have thought of that?
That's what you have to do in this business. Hey, I met with them. I met with 2 of them. That stinking Starbucks on the corner of Rimpow and Magnolia.
Yeah.
I met people at the Starbucks that were agents in town. And I'm just telling you guys right now, to be unconventional, you actually have to be unconventional.
So, real quick, what happens is the market constantly changes. 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, everything you could buy, it was all REOs, they were real estate owned, bank owned, and it was all in the market, and there were 200 houses on the market on every street. It really was.
No one could get a loan. Could get a loan.
Yeah. Well, you could get some loans. It was really hard to fix them to fix them up for me and sell them. So I bought them and kept them. Problem is there was no appreciation. Every appraiser was afraid to raise the value. Oh, you bought it for 60. You put 50 into it. It's worth 70. And
there's an
that's
REO
what they were
6
doing.
miles away, so that means it's only worth
Right.
30. Yeah.
But what happens is that it changes. And then what happened is direct mail, just so you know, we were buying on the market. Later we were buying from referrals, which we still do. Later we were doing postcards and driving for dollars, which still works. But the issue was it became very mail intensive. So we would buy lists and we'd send them out, and we'd do the absentee owner and the divorce and all this. And guess what? A lot of things were happening. I was getting 40, 50, 100 postcards a month for my rentals. I'm getting like 5 right now because people switch to the phone and door knocking. The big guys can't always door knock. So if you are you don't need 50 deals to get ahead. A lot of you just need 1. If you guys got one deal, make 50 grand, would that change your year?
Yeah.
Just 50 grand, just that once? Right, so you got 1 or 2 a year for the next 5 to 10 years, right? You see what I mean? It still can change your life. You don't need the 50, you don't need call centers, etc. Fine, you want to go that route. I'm just making a point. These are things you can do right now by getting out, knocking on the door, or picking up the phone. Okay, they don't cost a lot. But anyway, keep going with it.
No, I just can't tell you guys enough. My own personal experience. Go ahead. Let me hear your question.
I just wanted to know if you guys had any unconventional ideas for people looking for commercial, light industrial, and probably zone land.
I'll tell you this. First of all, commercial is I've been dealing with the last 30 days with this commercial agent on a residential deal. They are a different breed, I'll tell you that. First of all, it really is. It's like dealing with another investor who doesn't know half what it needs to. The bottom line with it is it's a far more just no emotion, straight numbers, and they didn't live in the property. All that's out. So a lot of the different stuff that we use, it's just sales techniques with that. So I only know if you tell me a little lady or you own this property and some land or a building, I can deal with that. Dealing with a commercial agent, it's a whole nother world that we could talk about, but it's really by the numbers. Like, listen, I'd love to give you what you say, but the numbers strictly say this. This is what it's worth, period, based on your NOI and your capital.
Don't kid yourself though. At a certain time, I think what is his name? Bruce Norris used to call it at capitulation, meaning when the seller can no longer dictate to the buyer terms, and I mean I only read the newspaper about commercials properties, and when I hear that people are selling for $62 million property that they bought for $428 million 4 years ago, you can only lose like that for so long before capitulation starts to come into the picture. So I think, I know you're working, I know the deals you're working on. I think you need to continue to work those deals, just like I'm talking about here. And you need to become an expert deal maker, okay? And then one day, instead of them saying, "Oh, talk to my agent," they're going to be like, "Really? Can you do that? Well, how can we meet? Let me talk to my attorney." Or something like that. But I'm telling you right now, keep working the deals because markets have cycles in them, and the commercial is just getting ready to have their comeuppance. That's the way I see it.
That's kind of what happened. I would though network with every agent out there in the commercial world, let all the brokers know what you're looking for, et cetera, and you're the guy. So I would be doing that.
Now, of course, with residential, you're knocking on doors. You have creative ways of getting directly to the owner.
Secretary of State.
You can do the same.
Secretary of State tell you who owns a corporation, and they have to list a physical address. You can start doing that, and then skip trace the agents. Trust me, when there's ways to find the owners, just like if any lawyer wants to find them because of a lawsuit, they'll find you. And so you can skip trace the owners once you know who the owners are.
Most of these owners.
That's a good strategy.
Do you see
Secretary of State?
Do you see the people across the street? Do you see every night when we leave, there's security out there? Compose a nice letter, give them a coffee card, and say, "Could you make sure the owner or the property manager, the owner, gets this letter?" Do it 4 times, 5 times until they call.
The other part, though, real quick, Andy, is that if you're talking about someone and there's a management company handling the commercial, I'd give them a letter to forward to the owner, and I would be insistent about them doing that. Yes, Andy.
If you pull deeds and deeds of trust, they will have permanent addresses typically put on where to send it to. So when they buy it,
For the reconveyance, top left corner.
or when they record the grant deed,
They have a service address.
that's going to go to their permanent address. Their main office is most likely where that deed's going to go.
So if you look at a deed of trust, top left corner.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I wanted to share, I really quickly, I get this out, okay?
Yes.
I wanted to share about being unconventional. So some of you know my son-in-law and I are doing some deals together. I'm really loving it. It's just great, okay? And we started realizing that a lot of the wholesale houses we were getting were probate houses. So we were like, hey, there's something to this probate. And I've called probates before. It's a hard road to hoe. Okay, so we found out a little glitch in the matrix. Okay, and this glitch in the matrix is reverse mortgages. Okay, so what I love about reverse mortgage holders is they're dying to become my clients. Okay? I'm sorry, did I say that? Yeah, I did say that. Yeah, okay? No, I'm just telling you guys right now. What I've noticed. I love it. I love it. Look, they're all judging me. They're all judging me. It's awesome. It's awesome. Okay? No, listen. So my mother-in-law had a reverse mortgage. It was a $2 million home. She got this reverse mortgage for $300,000. She's lived there for 14 years since my father-in-law died. Why did he do any of this? that's not for me to get involved in. They didn't ask for my permission. They did this. My wife has 5 brothers and sisters. Every one of them would call my wife, we got to get mom out of this thing. We got to get mom out of this thing. Now the reality is she owned a beautiful home on the water, and it costs a lot of money to keep that house up. And when you own when you have a reverse mortgage, no, you got to do the maintenance. You got to pay the taxes. You got to pay the insurance. Well, Mom, the reason why Dad put the home in a reverse mortgage is because they didn't have $50,000 a week coming in. They didn't have $50,000 a year coming in. So they were house rich, and they had very little income, just retirement income. So as time went on, this house became a burden for her. And this was a realization that I lived. I didn't read this in a book somewhere. I lived this realization. So the window that was always leaking, and then it got into the stucco, and then it got into the drywall, and then it ruined the floor, that happened at her house. Okay? And this is like I said, this is a beautiful home in Belmont Shores. So this is in my head. I know this is the reality. So what I've done is I found out there's 10,300 reverse mortgages, not in Palm Springs, not in Bakersfield, not in Ventura, not in San Diego, but everything else that's left inside this basin. Okay? And then I put them into age groups.
Hold that thought, because we're going to get to that.
I'm unconventional. It's an unconventional thought to create unconventional results.
You're going to talk about it. We're going to get to this. Cool. First of all, these are some of the things to think about. How many of you are real estate investors? Okay. All right. How many are full-time real estate investors? Okay. So my question is, when someone asks you, hey, what do you do for a living? Do you tell them I'm a postman?
No.
I'm an agent?
No.
I'm an officer? Or I'm a real estate investor? Okay? So keep that in mind. Whatever you're focusing on, see what's going on, all right?
It's usually what you become.
Yeah, so understand that. So one of the things we're going to ask is about real estate investors. This is different for everybody. Some of you are sitting in really good positions. Some of you have a lot of money. And some of you guys are struggling, literally put food on the table. And that's just where you're at. That's okay. I've been there. I was there. And so the point is so this question will hit different for someone else because some people are far more motivated. A friend of mine who's a member who's not here tonight, he has a good job, luckily still, that I think any day it'll be over in the industry he's in, and owns a couple rentals, good cash flow, has some money in the bank, things are good, life's good. He goes, I need to do something. I know it, I do that. He lends money, etc., but he's just not that hungry. That's okay. But he's picked up info, so he knows how he can be a better landlord or pick up a property at his pace, but he's not out there crushing it on knocking on doors, etc., because he's a different place. All right? I'm not running around knocking on doors constantly. No, it's not. I'm targeted in areas that I work in. Some of you that are getting going and are hungry, knock on every frickin' door. All right? So understand the difference. Or pick up the phone and call. We'll get into that. So how many hours per week will you dedicate to you? John Schaub. Okay, next month John Schaub's coming, right? I'm going to John Schaub. I'm going to let you guys need to go. All right? Building wealth one house at a time. And the thing behind it is that he's very conservative. He believes in having paid off houses, believes in buying good houses, good quality houses in good neighborhoods to get a better tenant and do that one house at a time. So buying one house or 2 houses a year, do that for 10 years and you're going to be set. All right? And so depending upon what your goal is or what Sal's goal is or Alex or Gary's, everyone's goals being a little different, this will hit different. But if I could work 50, 60, 70 hours a week for a boss and then commute another hour each way, I could work 10 hours, 15 hours a week for myself with that. And that's what we did. That was me. Okay? I know, so just keep that in mind. So how many hours per week are you going to dedicate to do this? You have time? You have money? No time, no money? Richard talked about some of these last month or last week at his event, but these are the things you deal with. Pick an area to work with, and this is where I'm kind of going. And now you can continue that if you take an area to work, in this case, you can tell I'm amazing with graphics.
So-
Is that if this is home on one side, works on the other, and the question is whether there's hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands between those 2 points. That's your market. Start working if you don't know where to start. Now you continue
So
what
I
you
took
did.
the 10,000 names, the 10,000 reverse mortgages, and I started at 85 and I'm at 80-year-olds now. An 80-year-old is a double A lead, okay? And what we did is my son-in-law lives in Covina and I live in Riverside. So we have an oval that shape, and we know all of the reverse mortgagors in that area.
So you pull a big list of the whole area, and
we
you can start
and
working.
we put an oval over it, and I mean I didn't physically do that. I just did it. I could see it on the map. Okay, and we've got a couple hundred 80-year-old pluses that we're going to go see. And I know all of you droned on about me chasing these nice old people, but guess what? They don't know what the hell's going on. They think the bank owns the home. Their sons and daughters don't give a. They don't care.
And let them know what the problem is with a reverse mortgage what happens to where they get into a jam to where they're now we're gonna have a trouble.
So on the property that I own on Arrowhead, there's a reverse mortgage. The balance is 111 on the property, or 211 on the property. Okay, my wife ran the guts of my real estate company. There's not a better person to speak to the bank that I know of than my wife. 13 phone calls now, because she did 2 today, just to get everything worked out. She knows what the heck she's doing. Not only does she know what she's doing, she's got me screaming at her, telling her, do this, do that.
So what's the issue with the reverse mortgage? Why these people are in trouble?
What they're telling me is they put us into foreclosure, which means a bunch of fees, because after 3 months after the death, I didn't call and get an extension. That's technically the reason that they put us into default. Okay, and I don't want to be in default because I understand if I'm in default, I'm going to be paying extra fees. I don't want to pay extra fees. I want to spend that money. Okay, or I want to buy another house with that money. I don't want to give it to the damn bank. And the bank makes it impossible because once you go into default, you can't speak to Carrington, the lender. You have to speak to Wolf Services, which is the foreclosure bank. No, not even the service.
Foreclosure.
It's the foreclosure bank. And the foreclosure bank doesn't know anybody or won't give you the number. Do you understand? It's a circular argument, and it goes on, and it took her a couple days, and she finally figured it out. And this happened 2 weeks ago, and this was the aha moment for me.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
Everybody's
so
stuck.
people know. A lot of people don't realize is that is when you have a 30-year loan, right? You make your payments, due on sale clause, right? But if your parent dies and say there's a trust, you can keep making the payments, and most likely they're not going to call any due on sale clause. You can go ahead, and that's what you also hear about sub-2 deals. Someone buys a house from someone, I buy it from Lee, and I start making the payment. I get some paperwork from him. I start making the payment, even though the loan's still in Lee's name. I now own the house, and I'm making payment. That's a sub-2 deal. And if the bank doesn't wake up and do a call it due, we're good. With a reverse mortgage, first of all, as soon as someone passes away, there is usually 6 months to a year, it depends, there's issues, where it's due on sale, and they know. They get told, I don't know how they know immediately, but someone calls them, someone lets them know, there's certain records they look up. The bottom line is they do that and the clock starts ticking. A lot of families do not, or what they do in the situation, they see a big payment due, house is distressed, and they go, we're giving it back to the bank, because they don't know what else to do. Because the house isn't in great condition, or there's a problem with it, and by the time they pay agents and they got an empty one. The deal I'm doing now with Patrick in West Covina was a reverse mortgage, person's still alive, but there was no more money left, the amount of debt to the value of the house. And so they were at the point where the mom needed to go into a home and they needed to sell it. The point is that people they get to a point, one second, And then the family members feel like they're stuck. And you want to catch them before they just throw it back to the bank. Because there could be lots of equity in there, because a lot of times it'll say a $500,000 loan on the house, and you go, it's worth $600,000. But the loan's actually $300,000. The $600,000 is only in 22 more years. Will it grow up? The payoff could be a lot lower, and they don't always know.
And I just got why. It just came to me as you're talking. Okay? A reverse mortgage is just like an FHA mortgage. So I don't know if any of you have ever purchased a home with an FHA mortgage, but there's something called health and safety standards on an FHA mortgage. No peeling paint, no overgrown trees, no dead pools, no holes in the roof, no cat, no carpet that's matted down with feces. Okay, you can't have that in a house. Okay, so if you have a reverse mortgage, like you had, the reason why they can't refinance into it, because the value's gone up, they can refinance. That's why when you originally told me the story, I'm like, I don't understand it. But you can't get a reverse mortgage, and they can't qualify because she's an old lady on making subsistence. So I know all of you were like groaning about me talking about the people trying to become my next client. Okay, but you got to understand they don't have anywhere to go.
Last year, Richard's younger brother, one second, Jeremy. Richard's younger brother bought a house that the neighbor, his father-in-law owned the house next door. They were visiting. They saw people walking outside. Turned out the neighbor had lived there for 50 years, had a reverse mortgage, and had died. And the family was giving it back to the bank. And he learned. He started working with us, and he learned enough to go, don't talk to my mom. You got to talk to my mom. Worked out. He bought that house with a lot of equity, and it worked out, did the thing. And the family got 15 grand they didn't think they were going to get. So everyone won. And so, but it was just going to go. And people do that all the time. Yes, Jeremy?
So have you guys figured out, just by looking at the deed of trust on a reverse mortgage, what is owed, or like a ballpark of what is owed currently, because you said you're doing a deal and there's no equity, but just by looking at the deed of trust, is there like a way to do a quick scan and to figure out what the balance is?
So the only way I know of doing it is with, like, our friend Matt has access to essentially you pull credit on somebody. So if you, some of you might have access to an investor or a finance company or something like that you got to get permission to do all of this stuff. There's ways of doing that, but I personally don't really get involved in it. When I find out it's a reverse mortgage, which another way you can tell is just that there's usually a mortgage for $1 on all of our search engines that we're using. If it's Property Radar or Deal Machine, you'll see a mortgage for $1. That means it's in place. But what Jeremy's talking about is, like, my mother and father-in-law started with, I think it was like $280,000. When she sold the property 12 years later, the payoff was $970 grand, $5,400 a month in payments. Now, do you know why the kids wanted her out of a house she didn't even like and want? So I'm sorry, I don't have the answer for you.
Neither do I, but I have noticed, real quick, Lenny, I have noticed that if it is, say, $200,000, and I asked the family, what did mom get 4 years ago? Because is it 25 years ago or was it 4 years ago? Well, mom got $42,000. Okay, and you're gonna tell me there's probably a lower payoff.
Have you guys? I mean, is it the way I'm thinking? And I don't know the answer, right? I'm thinking it's got to be based, because there is a number on the deed of trust. It's usually a pretty big number.
Right.
Well, and that's
the
max.
That's the max.
Yeah. So I'm 50. No, I'm 59 years old. There's a formula. I think it's like 5% a year. So when you're 55, that's when you can get a mortgage. I think the max LTV is 50% because they want to be able for it to raise. So if my house is worth $1 million, they'll put a max of 500,000. So if I owe 100, I can draw 400 before they're going to cut me off.
But I've seen ones where the house is worth let's say 200 and the deed of trust is 800,000, you know, and so it's like,
I think is that an outlier, an anomaly, or you're seeing a lot of that?
Or is that after 30 years?
No.
Yeah.
I'm saying like, because we don't really know what's owed, right?
Right.
I'm saying, I mean, obviously, if you're in a deal that you get to figure out what they, but I'm saying like, just by looking at the, you know, if you're looking at 100 of them, just to get a good idea of which ones are worth pursuing, which ones aren't. Is there a way by looking at the deed of trust? So are you saying that?
Not for, I don't.
So the tax is 50% LTV.
So at age 55, at 56, it's a little bit higher. At 62 or 67, I think it's 67. It's 100%.
Is Steve here?
Okay.
Is
No,
Lazarus
he's not.
here?
He's
No?
not.
All right.
It's
Somebody else.
100%. So it's a reverse mortgage is an insurance product. I know you know this, but that's really all it is. And it's an insurance product that says, so let's say my mother-in-law lived to be 108 years old, and that $900,000 balance became $3,200,000, and the house is only worth $2 million. The lender would get a payoff of $1 million or some kind of a formula from the federal government. You and I would pay that bill. That's why reverse mortgages were so popular with the baby boomers.
Well,
made.
Yeah.
And their kids don't want to solve the problem.
Well,
No, a lot of times they don't know how either. Or they,
and that's the anomaly, and that's why I'm going to go back. And I'm sorry, I know I didn't answer your question.
We'll get those others real quick.
But I'm just saying to you guys right now, the fact that there is ambiguity is the opportunity. So the you have to understand that. If you don't realize that this watch is worth $96 million, you know, you're not a buyer for it.
Well, let me do that. Let's get some questions real quick. The bottom line is when you borrow $300,000 to buy a house and you're paying it for a few years, you know you're somewhere under $300,000 under more. You have a rough idea, and you call and check. A lot of people, and you see a $300,000 mortgage. On the reverse mortgages, I've seen numbers that have no correlation to what they actually borrowed. They borrowed some small amount, and that's it. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, that top thing. I don't know that. We have to check and ask. But because of that ambiguity, you can find out and get there's a lot of room for there, because a lot of people walk away, or they get someone snide on the phone at the bank. Well, they won't work with me because they didn't go through probate.
They think the bank owns the property.
Right.
They
Some of
think
them do.
the bank owns the property.
Lenise.
So sometimes when you go on like PropStream or Property Radar, you'll see a home and the ARV will be like, let's say $500,000, but then the amount owed by the individuals are like $600,000, and they're much older. Is that an indicator of a reverse mortgage too?
It'll say on PropStream, it'll actually say reverse mortgage. Okay, I'm telling you guys right now, I don't even worry about any of this. Okay, now yes, would I like there to be 200,000 owed and worth 800,000? They want $5,000 to walk. I'd love that. I think that would be wonderful. But the reality is, my desired profession is to be of service. So I want to call your mother, okay, and I want to say, hey, do you have anyone in your life that helps you make these kinds of decisions? I've got a great daughter that helps me with this kind of things. Well, here's my card. Yep. Let's meet. Let's all three of us get together, and I'll share with you all of the options you have. And when I get to meet you, you're going to tell me about your brother-in-law or your brother. He's been in and out of jail a few times, but he would really love to buy this house. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, I've got a wonderful lender. Let me have him contact her directly, or I'll have my lender contact him directly, and we'll get him approved. Yeah, sure. He's been in and out of jail. He's not, if he is, and I've helped this lady out, good for me.
Let's go with this for a second. This deal with Patrick we did, and then we'll get to those. Reverse mortgage, elderly lady. We had her daughter drive out from Vegas to deal with her, who also had power of attorney. When you're dealing with elderly people, you definitely want to ask. You want to get them involved. And also, if you are offering a deal, a life estate or something, or any type of deal, you want to say, and I just did this on someone where I was going to give them an option to buy their house. I said, you have 2 grown daughters, why don't you, and I'm gonna offer them, I think it was like 15 grand to get their house at discount. Before I do that, why don't you talk to your daughters to see maybe they're willing to do it before you sell their house out from underneath them by me. You know what? The daughters came up with the 15 grand or 11 grand, and he actually showed up on our job site yesterday in a new car for him, going, Evan, that's the car I got, because his daughters stepped forward to do it. And so you know what's going to happen? In another year or two, they'll be back and I'll have a chance to do it again, but at least I went to do the right thing. And the point is, you have to be careful with elderly, because you don't, there's a whole bunch of things and rules and proprieties. Yes, Gary?
It's been a while since I was involved in it, but I was. But you can start getting it at a certain age, and the amount that you can get is based upon an actuarial. Like if you're 62 is the minimum, you're 80, and you take it. But that person can stay, the not dead person can stay in the house until they get dead. So what's the advantage of them selling to you before they get dead?
Well, my mother-in-law, my mother-in-law is in a, you know, she's paying some crazy number, like $6 grand a month to live in this super, you know, bougie place. Okay.
She wasn't maintaining it, right?
But she couldn't maintain the property, and the toilet was broken, and it needed to be painted, and it's a $2 million asset that was just going to go to hell, and so it was a family decision to get rid. And it's a 2-story house, and it cost a lot of money to put water on the grass. I mean, it's all of this stuff makes a difference if you're making so she lives in a $2 million home, and she had was $820 a month.
But what I think Gary's asking, is there a mechanism for them to actually call it due? My understanding is that they do have to maintain it. If they don't, I don't know what happens.
I'm 100% sure that the covenant that you sign when you do the loan documents is that you get to stay in the property, but you have to maintain property insurance, and you have to maintain your property taxes.
And if not, you probably start getting threatening letters, because actually I think that's what she was getting, was threatening letters from the lender, because they weren't even having insured anymore. Yes.
So my question is, because I've been looking at those, is like Zillow or REI Works, it will show that there's a loan and it says reverse mortgage for $1 million. The loan payment is $300 or $400 a month. Did they truly get $1 million?
No.
Or is that the max?
That's the max.
No, they might have got $200,000 cash 10 years ago, or they might have got $50,000 cash 25 years ago, or they got so much money per month or whatever.
Hey, Jeremy.
But
I'm sorry. Can we go on? Can't you go on title and see what the origination amount on the deed was?
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm asking you is you know, there's a number on there, but that number is, you know, all over the place. It could be really big, really small.
I've seen the dollar, I've seen $10, and I've seen.
I use this as a way to get in front of them, and the very first thing I say is, "Let me see your last statement." And on that last statement, if I'm doing good business with them, I just pull my phone out and photograph it. Now I got the whole shooting match from them. And this is the unconventionalness, because you got Jeremy who contacts hundreds of people in a week, okay? And I'm telling you right now, this is a way to compete with somebody who's a baller, who's the best at what they do, and you can do it by just knocking on the door. That's what I like.
Yeah, we got into the weeds a little bit. Did you have a quick question?
It was quick, but I think you guys touched on it. I said, can't you just ask the homeowner?
You can.
Absolutely.
A payoff statement or just
you can. Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that he was trying to talk about doing it before by looking at to get a rough idea. I noticed is it recent or is it a long time ago? If it's a reverse mortgage in the last 5 years, 8 years, I have a pretty good idea it's not anywhere near that number.
Yeah.
That's usually that's me spitballing it. And so far I've been right.
Yeah, I have a quick question. On reverse mortgage, okay, when somebody takes out a reverse mortgage, okay, they can take out 50% of their equity, correct?
If you're 62,
like you said, age, but let's say yes for the moment.
Yeah, okay. If say you still owe $300,000-$400,000 on the house, your house payment stops, but does that keep accruing?
Yeah, so the payment, instead of you paying the payment, the bank just adds it to the balance.
You know how compounding interest
Yeah,
is
the
the
bank has to be balanced.
eighth wonder of the world? Well, now it's working against you.
Yeah.
That's why quickly it can get out of hand.
And that's why I'm saying it's a service, people. Like, listen to me. I'm really not trying to tell you. Well, I love this because all of these people will end up dying because all of us do. Okay, but I'm telling you right now, all of these people do not like. My mother-in-law, when she found out the payment was $5,600 a month, she was embarrassed.
Because she wasn't paying it, but the fact is it's
it was being added to the payment
every month.
She never paid $5,600 for anything in her life, okay? And she was completely flabbergasted.
We're
Good
gonna.
thoughts. So the interest rate stayed where it was?
Yeah, the interest rate stays the same. Or look,
They can be adjustable too.
if it's cash out, it's adjustable.
First is,
Yeah,
since
they're adjustable.
if it's FHA, VA, it's one of those government insured loans. Does it follow the same FHA 30-year interest rate chart that you can look up online?
It does, okay,
adjustable.
it does, but the problem is there's a massive amounts of points and fees and add-ons and this product was put in place to save baby boomers from this impending retirement situation. The government solved it by printing trillions of dollars. It's really almost, it's not a product a lot of people use, but it's still out there and it's ready for us. It's a service.
It's a solution for some people, but it's such prohibitive cost. Just look, if you're thinking about doing that with your family, please talk to someone. There's a lot of reasons why people would, and I know in the mortgage industry would say they would never do one for their family. And others that said they would as a last resort. But there's options. Just understand that is something there.
Reverse mortgage eliminator.
And that is, as many times as you've offered an older person, tell them to negotiate a good deal. Option deals are a great example of this. You say, this is going to be a great deal for you. It's going to solve your problem. It's going to be a good deal for me. But it'd be just as good a deal for one of your kids to come in and do this too.
Right.
How often have you had a kid show up with the cash?
Just only the one
Right.
that just happened. Every time they don't do it. This other deal where that Sal and I and Gary were doing on tax saying that they needed $50,000. Well, my cousin the attorney, I said, why doesn't he give you the 50 grand? He's like, oh, he doesn't have it.
I'm telling you right now, this is the opportunity because it's service.
Right, that's what he said.
This exact thing happened to me where the son, the ne'er-do-well son, was going to apply for a loan, and I helped him get approved. He was unapprovable. He had no money, he had no job, and it was really easy for me to look at the couple and say, let me have this deal.
By the way, this does happen. I could do the same thing about another deal right now. Now a family member wants to buy it, they won't. I'll come back in 2 months and buy it. But going back to, because we went there, which is great, the reverse mortgages, there's just an opportunity there because a lot of people don't understand them. I still have to a bare minimum understanding of them. The point is that there's a lot of opportunity there. People need help. Go in and help and see if there's a way to help them stay in their house or help them buy it. We're in the middle of a good one right now. So going back to this real quick.
Finding a farm that's centered around your home and your work is kind of the apex of what I'm trying to tell you guys. Is this way, if you have to drive out to Riverside to see an appointment, on your way back home to Covina, guess what? There's probably 300 people he could just choose to go see. And as time goes on, I'm going to get a relationship going with her. And I'm going to get a relationship going with her. And this guy's never even answered the door. So just because he's never answered the door, I'm going straight to his house. Knocking on the door, leaving him a note. Okay, whatever I'm doing, because I know I got you two in the bag, and then when I get close to him, then I drop by and see you, and then I go pick up 5 or 6 others that maybe the house isn't a monster house, but maybe I know they're going to be leaving because all of the family members want to get rid of a reverse mortgage, and I want to be able to refer that client. I want to get this out. I want to be able to refer this client to my agent, the agent that I have. Because I want to give you as an agent, I want to give you as many referrals as I possibly can, because you're going to give me all of the good referrals. And that's the business. That's the gift with purchase. That's all of the deals you make big money on were gifts. People that they chose to give them to you. Yeah. And that's how you're going to do it, guys.
Okay. So if you have this area we're talking about going back to that farm, that area you want to work in between your home and your work. For example, how many homes are there? Hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands in that area? You could break that up a number of ways. You can take, if you have prop stream or something, you can literally look into that. You can check out all the reverse mortgages. Figure out, there's 10,000 of them. Maybe break that into bite size. Which ones are closer to work? Which ones are closer to home? Look at numbers, make some phone calls, knock on the door. Or you can also go to prop stream and say, let me look for all the ones that have a name change that are now the estate of. You can do that in prop stream. And now you know someone in the last year has made a change. And now you know something's going on. And now you can contact them by knocking on the door or calling them and expressing your condolences. And so again, you could take an area code or a neighborhood, whether it's 5 miles by 5 miles, maybe it's a city. Some people work, you just, hey, I love Riverside, you do that. And then you can break that down to even the others of, are there any liens? Are there any tax liens, code enforcement, divorces, probates? Okay, you're gonna see how you know there's a probate because prop stream will show up and they'll say estate of all of a sudden. Now you know something's going on there. Doesn't mean that someone in the family's not keeping it, but it means someone's probably going to sell it, probably or possibly. So those are some of the things that are going on. Look for trusts. These are different things you can do. You can break that area down, and you can, if you take an area like Riverside, you pull all the reverse mortgages out. There's so many of them, and you can work that. Or in the neighborhood, say you do something and there's, let's say, notice of defaults for a minute. Because what Jim was saying earlier is right now there's not tons of people losing their houses because of not making payments. There's some notice of defaults out and they've gone up, but they're not like they were, say, 10 years ago. So you say you do that and there's 150 of them. Well, you talk to those 150, you start working those down, and now you go ahead and look at the list again and run the same neighborhood, and I'll look for probates. Or if you can look for the ones that have a probate and a lien, and they say code enforcement or taxes, and you start stacking them, these are things where you can start. If you start looking at, there's 10,000 of these people, and there's 1,000 of these, you can get down to 300 homes that have 5 different things going wrong.
So you got this guy who makes $500 grand a year. He's lived in his home the last 50 years. It's a beautiful home. Or you got this guy over here that has every lien that he just was talking about. Which one's motivated? I mean, come on, guys. It's not hard to see this. And this is when we talk about fear and frustration. This is sort of my fear and my frustration is that there's literally gold bars in the streets in front of these houses. You guys just have to find where is it hiding? Where is this gold bar hiding in front of this house?
Yeah. Real quick, and tell everybody that what you do. All your family and friends should know, hey, I'm a real estate agent. I don't know if you know, I also buy real estate as investment property now. I started this recently. I'm really excited about it. So every conversation you as an agent ever had with someone, you get to have another one. Same thing with people that you went to school with and work with, etc. I already talked about garage sales. I will talk about garage sales real quick. Again, you're in a neighborhood. I'm going to share something with you there. If you're in the area, go to garage sale. Jim just did this in the class we just taught a couple months ago. Literally found a house he was like, hey, is the house for sale too? And they're like, yeah, it is. And then we had this long discussion. We made offers. We didn't get the house. But
hold on, it wasn't the house where the garage sale was. It was the house next door.
Next door to it.
I just had like a feeling they were working on the house and
you saw him working and
yeah.
You asked.
I asked.
You opened your mouth. See what I mean? You didn't just drive by and go, I wonder what's going on. You kept driving. You see what I mean? So this is something that I've been doing is look up all non-owner occupants in the neighborhood. If you live in a neighborhood, you're out of there, you live in a neighborhood, you're there because your mom lives there, call every non-owner occupant, occupied house in the area. Maybe you go, well, hey, there's a lot of them. Fine. Every duplex owner, every triplex owner. This is something that I literally say. Except happy landlord, you get the idea. You don't know me. Earlier today, I was at a garage sale by your property on 123 Main Street. I love that neighborhood. I've been wanting to buy there forever. Would you ever consider selling to me? I'm usually, in this case, saying, hi, I own a house 2 streets over from you on such and such, and then the rest. But for those of you that go, that's fine, Evan, you already own something. Fine, you're visiting your mom. Hey, I was visiting my mom on Main Street, and I drove by your house, and I love that neighborhood. Would you ever consider selling to me? It personalizes it. I have 4 other ways to say the same thing. Another one is like, look, I own, live, rent, buy your property. I love it. Been wanting to buy there forever. Been wanting to add to my rental portfolio. You might say, I don't have a rental portfolio. That's why you've been wanting to add to your rental portfolio. All right? You only own Park Place, Oriole Avenue, those places. So you love those older homes. Would you ever consider selling to me? Again, that's something, or I had someone say, well, no, because if he sells it, because I got the brother, he goes, I want him to sell it to me. All right? So if you look at an area, break it down to bite-sized chunks. If you run a list and there's 8,000 people or 8,000 homes, shrink it, make it smaller, stack it, change things, or
Be unconventional.
yeah, make it a smaller diameter, closer to your house. Change some things. Go, hey, only the duplexes, or only the triplexes, or only the 1 to 4, whichever. So understand that. And also when you do that, if you're going to do that and make that phone call, mention the neighborhood, the Groves, the Woods, Placita, Santa Fe, for those of you in Placentia, Gaslamp District, Old Town. What is it in Riverside? There's that area with the
Mile Square.
Mile Square along.
That's in Fountain Valley. That's in Fountain Valley, California.
No, what's the one right there?
You got Victoria Place.
I'm
You
talking
got
about
Mount
Magnolia.
Rubidoux. You got Magnolia Center.
It's
you
over by
got
Magnolia
La
Center.
Sierra.
There's a name for it, and it's still Gaslamp. What's that?
Armanza.
No, I can't remember. Anyway, the idea, huh?
Crestwood?
No.
Where are you thinking?
Right here in Riverside, over off by Arlington and is that Magnolia?
Ramona?
Wood Streets?
Wood Streets. The Wood Streets. Thank you.
And the idea is having this sort of knowledge.
So when you call the seller,
you're inside. You're not you're not just some big bad real estate investor who's waiting for the people to die. Like I know how to speak to these people and couple that with pointed marketing where you've actually figured out, like there are some areas where houses turn over more than others. Like learn how to learn how to figure that out, guys.
I missed a call today. It says, "Hi, this is Jay. I'm reaching out because I want to buy your property in San Bernardino County." That was today.
All of them?
You see what I mean? It's like, give me
all of them.
Yeah, I want to buy your property. Understand when you can personalize it. Thank you for saying the Woods, because that's a nice area. I wanted to buy and actually live in there before. So that's the type of thing to say. Again, it personalizes. It also tells me I'm not on the other side of the world. Richard would say, hey, when he calls about Crestline, hey, why don't we meet at the Mountaintop Cafe or the Bear Cafe is what it was called. And so the person that they were there a long time knew he was talking, he was local, I'm one of you. These are things to do to get you off your butts, take action. And I literally buying up some areas, we've done this before, you can dive deep in the neighborhood, you get one, or if you're there, or you know a friend in the area, to call and say, I love the area, and work that neighborhood. You don't need to drive 500 miles away or 5,000 miles away. They are right here. And then we got minutes here. This key, follow up. I'm telling you, the better you're at that.
12 times.
I'm telling you, you're going to be better off. You really need to do that.
Go pet the dog.
Huh?
Go pet.
Absolutely.
Go pet your dog. I understand that.
Is that a Ford Ranger? Oh, I used to have a Ford Ranger.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Whatever it takes.
Basically, what we're going here, we kind of covered a lot, so we're going to go on. Here's some last minute things. Focus on giving, not what you get. Promises are currency of choice when starting. This is some of Pete Fortunato. Talks about all the different things you could trade for a house. You can buy, negotiate with, the growth, profits, income management, amortization, security, use. There's a lot of things. How many of you think you're either going to buy or sell a house? That's it, right? You buy or sell the house, where you keep and use it. Well, you can buy and sell or lease all of those things on the board. There's like multiple options. And so there's offered benefits, not just numbers, and work for equity, not dollars. Okay? These are just some quick things here going over. More money or more peace. This year, I was far more interested in having a more peaceful life than more money. Although more money is good. And then I want to talk about John Schaub real quick. John Schaub's one of my heroes. He wrote a book, Building Wealth One House at a Time. John's very plain spoken. I was talking about it. For those of you who does not own a rental property, raise your hand. Who does not own a rental? Everyone, raise your hand high.
There you go.
Okay.
There's no excuses.
First of
for not
all,
getting that.
every one of you should be going to John Shop. All right? He's a very conservative way to buy property. He's not saying leverage to the max. He's not saying go buy 50,000 houses. He's not saying go raise $100 million. He's just talking about how to buy a house in a good neighborhood one at a time. Okay? And I highly recommend going. How many of you own rental property? All right. How many own more than 10?
Not yet.
There's 2 of us.
Really?
Well, there's someone else, but he's not
Jeremy's
raising his
not
hand.
raising
All right,
his
thank
hand.
you. Okay. All right. So, yeah, there's some. Look, I'm telling you, the key to wealth is not flipping houses. It's not wholesaling. It's not a good job. It's buying homes in good neighborhoods and holding on to them for a long time. That's it. Everything else is everyone tweaking it, making it sound better. Pace Morgie, Ryan Panetta, Cody
No cursing in
Sperber,
here.
all of those gurus who a lot of them I admire and respect, they learned it from the people either from John or Pete or either students of theirs or Larry or Miller, Jack Miller. They're doing it and they're just selling it for 50 grand. So when you look at this, I'm telling you, I forget how much it is for them to come out for 2 days. You have to go to Florida to normally get them for a weekend. But I'm telling you, I've gone to Florida to see John. I go to Vegas to see John, and I only get him for a couple hours. An hour here, an hour there. If you're serious about truly changing your life, okay, and making some serious money, not just making 20 grand here or 50 grand there, serious money, one house at a time. Come out there because that's what this is about. It's about financial independence and retiring early through real estate, okay? All right, so understand that. How many of you, I'm going to say this. For those of you that struggle, and you're like, I'd love to go, but man, I am hand to foot. There's something I did for Pete, I'll do it again, Angela and I. Well, whatever offer Richard's doing for the club, whatever the club is he's doing, I'm going to pay $100 your ticket. I'm literally going to write a check for $100 your ticket. Those of you that are millionaires, though, and you come up and ask for $100, I'm going to slap you. All right? It's not for you. It's for those of you going, I'd love to go, but I just need a little help. Just come up and see me, and I tell you how to do it, and then we will Zelle you $100 towards that ticket. Okay, the second I see the receipt, we do it or etc. All right? Yes, Andy?
I know of at least 2 people that will finance tickets to that.
And I was just going to ask that too. We did this for like 10 people last time. All right? Because I'm willing to spend money to help you guys get there because it's that important. I get zero benefit from that in that sense. There's nothing. I do it because that's how important it is. Okay?
Here.
All right? And I know my mentor who passed away a couple years ago, Mick Blackmore, that's with the Mixed Lunch, when John was in town or Pete was in town, let me rephrase that. When Pete was in town, he went to Mixed Lunch. And then Mick went to Florida to see John and Pete and went to Vegas to see them, even when he could barely drive before he passed. So there was a guy that I value that really helped me get over the hump and do very well. If he thought it was important and the guy was worth tens of billions of dollars, he still went to the event, then I think my ass needs to be there. So that's why I changed my schedule and will be there, John. So anyone want to talk about that? Anyone want to come up to me after? You can call me tomorrow. Just let me know and we'll make that happen, okay?
Can I just ask you, what is the ticket for the event? What is it? What is
It
one?
just says the discount, but not.
I'm looking at Farrah. It's a 2-day, just so you know, it's a 2-day event. It's here.
I'll pull it up right now.
And you get it for 8 hours, and I've never seen him for 2 days straight teaching by himself. I've
Hey,
never seen him.
let's bring Rich up right now. Come on up. Come on up.
This is what we're doing. All right, Rich, yeah.
Give him a hand, first of all. Hey, you know, we joke around with this guy all the time because he is the best audiovisual guy in the business, okay? He really is. But I don't think all of you understand. You understand that his name's on the lease. Does everybody understand that? Okay, he's the one that gets us all here. He's the one that calls me when I'm on the ground and my tongue is out and I'm drinking all night and I can't figure out how to. He's the one that gets me out of bed. Okay, maybe it's not that bad, but I'm telling you guys right now. First of all, how much is this damn thing? Come on. 12 grand a month. 12 grand a month, and you get to learn it all.
Wait, what's 12? No, we're talking about John. We're talking about John.
Son?
Yes. How much is it for the weekend?
It's 8. So the base price for like the general admission price is $897 for the weekend. Okay, IREC members out there, you guys get $135 off that price. Okay, there was some early bird specials and whatnot; those are all gone. Okay, but so that makes it like I don't know, $762 is what it makes it for 2 days. So that comes with lunch both days, and then also comes with this time we're going to do like a banquet on Saturday night. So basically like a private tri-building thing for attendees only. That'll happen. We're going to we'll bring the bar back out. So we'll do like a dinner banquet kind of thing on Saturday night to meet everybody. Because there's going to be a lot of people here that aren't from the club. There's going to be a lot of people out from the different regions of Southern California.
And out of state.
And at NorCal, so I want you to meet all those people. So we're going to do that right after the event ends on Saturday. We'll roll right into the banquet. So I mean, easily, I think I'm, pretty sure I put in there that everybody gets a free drink on Saturday night also. So between all the food and everything and all the money you're saving on
not flying to Florida
and flights and hotels and all that stuff. The one thing we didn't do this time was we didn't do a hotel block. Tried to do that last time with the Marriott. For those that we went to Pete, I hope you enjoyed it because it's the last time I'll probably ever deal with that. That was a nightmare trying to get that room block. So I'd recommend staying. There's a bunch of hotels in the area if you want to come down for the weekend. But Marriott's still a good hotel. Marriott, Mission Inn, Courtyard down the street. We're gonna. I haven't decided where we're gonna be yet, but I might pull up the RV right here in the parking lot. So yeah.
Tailgate party.
What's that?
Tailgate party.
Yeah, exactly. You got an RV?
So what I'm saying in that case, and Rich doesn't know what we will do this, is that Angela and I will pay $100 for the first 10 people that contact us privately and individually that need it. Those of you sitting on a lot of money, guess what? And I don't try to get by me. So
this is the reason why you do this. If you don't believe in yourself, I don't want to get crazy on you, but if you don't believe in yourself for $700, when he says change your life, I mean change your life. I mean 3, 4, 5 deals at $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a piece. That's $250,000 coming into your household. You do that 5, 6, 7 years in a row, and you can start talking about your fire number. You can start talking about getting rid of your 9 to 5.
Right.
Okay?
And just so you know, I want to share something else real quick, and then we're done. Is just so you know, for all you guys, this club has been home for some of us for many years. Jim was one early on, and Rich and I, even though I was around a few times in the beginning, like 6 years, 7 years ago, 7 years, 8 years, whatever it's been, and that's where we learned a lot more. I was a landlord. Yeah, we did fix and flips. Yeah, we did wholesales. Yeah, we did it, and we brought it to a whole nother level by hanging out with people like Jim. Okay, by some of you, Jeremy, Andy, okay, John, Mick, Farah. There's a lot of you that we learned. And Rich went from owning no property to a bunch worth a lot of money in like 5 years? 4 years. And it's because, and 99% or 95% of the education was from this room and the other people and doing deals, etc. That's why we talk about it. So I'm just saying, what you focus on is what you get. Understand that. That's why I'm, by the way, I'm really proud of my son over here. All right, so give it up for him. Okay, I'll tell you that. And he's doing things that Angela and I, beyond us in a lot of ways, it's just amazing. And so that's why I'm willing to put some of my money up to get you out to see John, because it's that important. Otherwise, I wouldn't care. But I really believe it's that important. Okay? Yes?
Hey, Rich, how much is that Jimmy Napier live in-person class later in the year?
I don't know what Jimmy used to charge. I wish I would have seen him.
Like, we can't get him anymore, can we?
No. Jimmy passed away years ago.
Yeah.
Before my time.
Right.
I wish I would have seen him.
Hey, and by the way, and this is the last thing I'll go, is that I got a call from one of the members, but she's not here tonight. She said, hey, I was just at this event over, this is as was going on. They're going to teach me about foreclosures, and they're going to teach me about this. I was telling you earlier this. They're teaching me about, we were going to do all this and focus on it. Well, day one was kind of like that. And day two, it was a fix and flip, and it was this, and how to be a landlord and all this stuff. And I realized I've already learned this, and I keep learning from the club. Yet they now want 50 grand from me, and although now it's at 35,000 and then 25,000, and so understand there's a lot of stuff that they're trying to partner money. All I'm just telling you is something I believe wholeheartedly. It's something there. That's why I'm pressing it. We got about 6 weeks before John's out. I know there's tickets left, but I'm willing to put my money up to get you there, even though I don't see anything other than when you do your deal with somebody. I'm telling you, it's gonna be exciting. And so we've done deals with people with their first deal, and they made 20 grand or 50 grand, or their second deal, we're working with someone and they're gonna make 6 figures. So again, keep that in mind, keep that perspective, and I want to tell you, that's all I have.
Cool, let's give this guy a round of applause.